I might even throw Nathan straight into it on 78.
Yeah, look, the power of this image. Two. Hey. The power of this image is in the expressions, that there are really authentic kind of characters in all of these faces, which I really enjoyed, and some similarities in generations and all of that. So credit to the photographer for seeing all of that. It's just some of the technicals. The light has just dropped off and it's muddy. Some of the shadows just feel really blocky. Even the dog just really steals the scene. So the photographer is clearly nailing it with story and expressions, but just some of those technicals around the edges, for me, let it down and just put in high professional practice.
Terrific. Thank you, Nathan. Okay, and welcome back to our people out there in live streaming land. We've just done the first print in the family category, single capture, so you haven't missed a thing. Okay, next print, please. And we have a score of 81, a silver award. Katie, you're on 81?
Yeah, this is a beautiful image. I'm really enjoying the shapes and the rhythm and the beautiful tones. I just think maybe to bring it up a little bit higher, just work a little bit more on the processing and just lighten it slightly and just be careful of the blacks because I think it's really close to something quite extraordinary.
Well, we had 4 judges all in the 80s, so well done. Next print, please. And we have a score of 78. Judges on 78, 78, 78, 77 and 77. So very, very consistent. Let's have a comment. Thank you, Nathan.
I'll talk on every print. For this particular concept, it's really pretty, but we've got the studio lights, we've got it all set up, so let's get the depth of field so that we can really read all the pieces. And also just a little step to the left, and we've got some separation between the subject and that little bathtub.
Only minor things, but they all count. Thank you very much, Nathan. Next print, please. And we have a score of 78. And I'm going to... Nathan, you're on 78, if you want.
When this turned around, a little kid in the back just went, "Ma!" And I felt it. Like, I felt that joy of the character again. The photographers nailed it. But the crop is... there's a big detail of that little plane there, and we've cropped out the wheels, and just a little bit more space would have helped for this one, and maybe a little bit hot in those highlights over on his left side.
Okay. We're all happy with that, judges? Next print, please. And just while the judges are contemplating the this print, just in reference to that last print and Nathan's comments about the wheels being cropped off the aeroplane, I believe that was the mat. So a lesson to be learned from entrance, you're best not to mat your print right into the image because you're going to lose some of it. Best to mat it outside of the image. Maybe leave a centimetre or half a centimetre around it just to give a nice clear area. And we have a score of 77. Well, this time Katie's on the average. Please, Katie.
This is a lovely little image, little 3 points of communication between these 3 people, which I really enjoy. I think to bring it into a ward range, it just needs to have something a little bit more than what we're seeing. It's perhaps a little bit over-processed as well, so just maybe pull that back a little bit.
Thank you very much. Let's have the next print, please. And we have a score of 76. And one unstable judge. You wearing sensible shoes? Okay, who would like to make a comment? All our judges are very close in their scoring here. Thank you, Natalie.
I think this is a beautiful silhouette image. The highlights and the shadows are perfect, but I'm finding the storytelling and the sensitivity of the image just isn't coming across for me. So just a little bit more emotion between mum and dad.
Yes, we have a lot of the judges nodding their heads there. A little bit more emotion. Okay, we accept that score and we'll have our next print, please. And we have a score of 77. Carol, would you like to comment?
I would have scored it higher, apart from I guess, just having that out of focus cow in the foreground, unfortunately, maybe if it was a bit more in focus, it would have led your eye a little bit more into the couple with their dog. It's just a bit distracting there, especially that highlight on the nose. But it's a lovely image, and it's got great storytelling elements in it as well.
Yeah, thank you, Carol. Nathan.
Yeah, just quickly, since we're talking about things that can go to APPA and do amazing, this could work really well as a series, as a storytelling series where we went from maybe that perfect shot to this really fun interaction with the rest of the farm, just for the photographer.
So bring it up as a diptych or triptych, something like that. Worth investigating. Thank you very much, judges. Next print, please. And the printer scored 82, a silver award. We can't have a challenge there, Annie. Annie's on 86, so she's 4 points off the average, so unable to challenge. But for the photographer, Annie was in the silver distinction range. But let's have a comment anyway. Thanks, Natalie.
Yeah, well done to the photographer. I truly believe this image could have gone a lot higher. What held me back a little was the skin tones. I've got quite a grey skin colour happening, but then quite a pink cheek. So it's sort of not really working for me. But if you'd warmed up the rest of the skin tones, especially in the shadows, it would have blended quite nicely with the pink of the cheek.
Great, thank you. I was just noticing that top right-hand corner too, but whether that's actually a lead-in for the light or not. Anyway, score of 82, very well done. Next print, please. Printers scored by a majority 79. So we're going to have a challenge this time. Annie, you're 5 points off, so let's have a little chat.
Yeah, I think this definitely deserves a silver award. The thing I love about this image is that even though it's quite styled and staged, it still has a very natural, real feel about it, which shows me that the photographer had a great connection with the sitter, and I think that they've really nailed all of those elements to really bring it into the silver range.
And Nathan.
Yeah, I'm definitely listening because it turned around as a really perfect picture. And I struggle with that sometimes, it's just a little bit too pretty. So something to the credit of this image is these little flashes of highlights on the toenails and the fingernails really match with the tips of the petals. So that's a really beautiful little extra to this image, which is why I'm listening. It won't take me much to get over the line. I just felt like that look, that asymmetrical face looking right down the barrel of the camera, didn't feel congruent with the holding of the belly and this soft moment in a chair surrounded by foliage. And I thought it might have been stronger if she was actually just having a moment with her tummy and not engaging us, because I felt too distant from her being this far back. But I think this needs to be talked about.
Okay, we might have a bit of a discussion here. So maybe Natalie on 77, and then I'll go to Katie.
Yeah, what held me back was her expression. It's quite blank, and she's got this little baby that she's going to be expecting soon, which is a little hidden. I mean, you can tell that she's pregnant, but I'm finding that the baby could have been just a little bit more prominent in the photo, and the expression, I would have loved to have seen her connecting with Bub or connecting with us just that little bit, and just a little bit more emotion.
Okay, Katie.
I'm glad we're talking about the expression, because that's kind of what ended up being the reason why I put 82 in, as opposed to my first instinct, which was slightly lower. The more I looked at her face, the more I became engaged with her expression. I think at first it was easy to read it as kind of quite straight and possibly blank, but it's actually quite warm. And if you really look at her eyes, I feel like there is communication there between her and the photographer. And it's subtle, it's slightly vulnerable, but it's also quite warm. It's just in her eyes. It's not in everything else. I mean, it's definitely posed, and she clearly wanted to be photographed in a particular way that was going to enhance her beauty, and maybe not so much, she didn't so much want the real moment of looking away. She wanted to see her face and see, who she is right now. So I think it is there, and I think the expression is the thing that made me pull it into silver. I'm pretty comfortable with it sitting in silver, but I definitely think it deserves to be there for sure.
Thank you, Katie. And Annie, your right of reply.
Yeah, thanks, guys. The thing I really love about this portrait of this woman is that it is actually about her. It's actually not really about her belly. And she's so beautiful and she's so glamorous, and the photographer has really worked with her on that. That's what I see about it. And she's looking at us, and that's how she feels. It's about her. It's not actually about the baby. And that's a really interesting maternity portrait to me. And I think that the photographer's really captured that and illustrated that really well.
Thank you. Currently, the print is on 79 by majority. Let's have a rescore. Well, it's no longer 79. All judges in the 80s. 82, Silver Award. Well done, judges. Next print, please. And we have a score of 79. But I'm sure we have a challenge. Thank you very much. Challenge from Natalie on 84. Thank you.
Yeah, this is a strong silver image. The posing of that baby is meticulous. And to do that in parents' arms is extremely hard. The tonal range, the colours, it's just stunning, and also just that care and love of the parents looking down at that baby. I actually would have went higher, but what was stopping me was just the highlights on the shoulder and just the highlights on Bub but they're not stopping me from going into silver range. I do believe this is a strong silver image.
Right. Well, other judges are 77, 77, 78, 78. Who would like to chat? Carol, please.
I think this image, it just has so much potential to be just such a beautiful, moody image. And as Natalie said, the posing is fabulous. It's just, perfect. The reason I didn't go up is because of the highlights. And I just keep looking at Dad's nose and the left side of the image, his arm. So I'm willing to go up, but that was what brought me down. And I think it's just got so much potential, this image.
Okay, Nathan, give Natalie a bit more material.
Yeah, look, it does have potential, and that's what's so frustrating about it. I'm happy with it just under silver for state so that the photographer can drive this into high silvers for APA, because it's powerful, but it's exposed for the mum at the moment, and she's beautifully lit. But from any point in this room, we're going to see that dad, and we're going to see so much of him, and it's just a little bit too much. So it's just the technicals. Highlights on the nose, highlights on the baby, highlights on the baby's nose, too much detail around the dad's shoulders and his bottom, and all these areas that we don't really need to see for the strength of their connection. Just little things, and it's a powerful, raw image. And I would actually really be interested in seeing if there's another frame where the dad's face is somehow connected, or attention on the mum. Not necessary for this particular image, but it's a strong set of characters in this, but it should do some more work and get higher for APA, I reckon.
Natalie.
Yeah, listening to what everybody's saying, I do agree, and that is the reason why I didn't go higher. I would have also liked to have seen a different paper, but the highlights for me, although they are strong, it is still taking me around the image. I'm still looking at the dad's face, the baby's face, and then up to the mum's. There is still detail in those highlights. It is a strong contrast image, but I'm still seeing detail in those highlights. So although they could be addressed, to me, it's not actually taking the image down below award standard. I believe this is an award image.
Okay, thank you all for those comments. Let's have a rescore. Current score is 79. And the print scored 79 by majority. So the average went up, but we have 3 judges in the 70s. Still, they get one of these badges. Thank you, judges. And we're going to do a little judge change. Natalie, you're at the far end there, so I'm going to give you a break. Thank you very much. And introduce Grandmaster David Oliver to our judging panel. Thank you, David. So I will call for the next print. And the printer scored by majority 79. We have a challenge. Well done, Annie, on 84. Please.
Come on, fence sitters. Yeah, this has got a lot of elements going on for such a simple image, which is really lovely. It's got humour. It's got beautiful colour tones. It's got lovely expressions. It's got many layers to it, and that's when I see that it's worthy of a silver award.
Okay, Nathan.
Well, I'm listening because it's high-level professional practice with a few other elements. I really would like to hear from some of you guys on what pushes this into a higher level of silver.
Okay, Katie, you're on 82.
This is just not something that you can pull off at every newborn shoot, just because you've got great lighting or, you know, nice colour palettes. This is like a moment that the photographer was fortunately in the right place, and the baby smiled, and the kid they've obviously got perfect eye contact with his child. This is showing us a level of communication which is not ordinary. This is not, if you were to pick the professional practice of this kind of pose, it wouldn't be this good. The baby most likely is just asleep and not smiling and doesn't have that beautiful look of almost as if it's laughing at a joke that someone's cracked. It's just there's just a much deeper level of storytelling here than what you would expect from professional practice of this kind of pose. And like everything Annie said is absolutely spot on. But I think that level of storytelling is what really makes it for me, and makes it absolutely has to be a silver, because you just don't see this kind of thing every day. If only we could always take a shot like this every time there was a newborn and a big sibling in the studio.
Okay, no other comments. I'll go back to Annie. Thank you, Annie.
Thanks, Katie. Yeah, it also, we haven't even mentioned the technicalities of this image. The print quality is exquisite. There's really beautiful detail through there. The colour choices with the colourings of the children and the background. It's not an accident. It's not something they've just flicked through. There's a lot of control in this image, and definitely in a level of award value.
Thank you very much. Let's have a rescore. That made a difference. 83, silver award. We have all the judges in the silver range. So, excellent debate. Okay, next print, please. And while the judges are contemplating the next print, I'd just like to make a little announcement here about the New South Wales Awards dinner. It's going to be held on the 1st of July, and there are, for a cost of $95, which includes a full 3-course meal. But there are only 15 tickets left. So if you go onto the AIPP website, you can purchase your ticket for the Fantastic Awards presentation dinner. We're going to have some fun. We have a score of 89, but we also have 2 judges who can challenge, both of them on 92. Do you want to duke it out, or will I select one? It's David and Annie, both on 92. Okay, we'll take Mr. Oliver's challenge on 92. Both of you. The other scores are 88, 88 and 87, so they're all up there in the silver distinction range.
Yeah. Impact, expression. It's very hard to sort of pull this off in portraiture, to get that engaging expression straight into the camera, and it's working so well. Probably the hardest things to pose are hands. And the hands are working perfectly with that finger just pointing up to the title. I don't know whether it was intentional or just luck, but it's just superb. It works brilliantly. And then you look into the shadows and you look at the olive green jumper and the jeans, and you can see the colour there, and it's very subtle and soft. The lighting is beautiful. Expression, brilliant. We've already mentioned that. Colour palette, choice of background, everything's working. And I think this is definitely deserving of a gold award.
Mm-hmm. We'll have a word from Nathan, then we'll go to you, Annie.
Yeah, I'd love to contribute to this. It's a solid gold. Easy, especially as a single capture. You can see the beautiful relationship between the photographer and this character, learning her past and her story and unpacking that so clearly, the communication is strong, and we knew that she felt these things, this reaction to bullying. If anyone's not reading the cover of the book, it's about a history of bullying, but we can see that in that haunted look, that defiant look in her eyes from the back of the room. It is beautiful. Since this will end up going to other awards and do really well, could we just maybe brush down the highlights on her right fingers, just where it's reflecting off the spine of the book? It's just a little bit hot, but I'm definitely moving into gold. This is a powerful image.
Annie, could you have a comment?
Yeah, I think that we're probably all there already, which is great. But I just want to really congratulate the photographer on, you know, just having something so exquisite in such simplicity as well. You know, we don't need lots of tricks. This is just nailing it in this single image, which is amazing. And the thing I love about it the most is that it's topical as well. There's a story in there. It's not just constructed for the sake of it. This age group, you know, they have a lot of problems with bullying and that kind of thing. And this feels real, and like the story is really there as well. So, well done.
Thank you, Annie. If there's no other comments, I'll go back to you, David, for your right of reply.
Look, we don't have to say anything more. I mean, it's all there. The picture's there. It tells the story. So let's rejudge.
Okay, judges, if you'd like to rescore, David, you're locked in. And we have scores of 92, 93, 94, 92, 92, average 93, gold award. Well done, judges. Okay, nice deep breath, and we will go to the next print, please. And we have a score of 78. Annie, challenge on 83. Thank you.
Okay, this is tricky because I don't like the technique that's been used on the image. It doesn't sit well with me. But the image itself is really amazing for an extended family shot. So I was hoping that someone would be fighting for the technique and telling me about that. So just to be honest, that's, you know, leaves me in this position. I feel like the technique is an interesting one. That's a very brave choice. I don't think it needed that because the image itself is really great. But I still gave it a silver because I think the image is that great that even with that conflict, for me, I still think it's worthy of a silver.
Okay, you do have some support. In fact, David could have challenged on 83 as well. But what I'm going to do is go to Nathan on 72. Then I'll go to you, David, and then Carol.
Yeah, I love that there's at least two people in the 80s because of the energy, because that is so strong, and the photographer has clearly been able to draw out the best out of this family in terms of how they relate and their energy. It's beautiful. But what drove me a little bit mad was the technique is not. It doesn't do justice to the beautiful scene, and arguably facing the whole family into speckled light like that, so that it just crisscrosses over all of their skin tones, and then amplifying it with that technique doesn't seem like the right technique choices for what is a beautiful capture of energy. So I stayed down in mid-professional practice for clearly the talent of capturing energy and seeing the humans and doing all of that. But as far as a print awards goes, I'm really struggling with those kind of crunchy techniques.
Okay, David on 83.
I've exactly mirrored what Annie's said. You know, like it's just that technique that pulled me back from going higher. But then I looked past that and I looked at all those expressions and all those little compositions within the overall family composition and the placement, which was actually well captured because they're all running, so you can't really place them. And all the expressions worked, and I'm thinking, Christ, I can't knock it back because of just the technique, because this photographer's chosen to present it this way on purpose. And so I've had to look past that, and I've gone for the photographer's expression and, you know, the impact of all those fabulous expressions.
Okay, thank you, David. And Carol, before we go back to Annie.
The expressions are amazing. It's just that the technique, it feels like a really authentic moment with everybody running and, you know, great expressions. But, you know, perhaps the speckled light is what's made the photographer make the decision to use that technique. I just don't find it's congruent with the authentic nature of the expressions. That I would get rid of the technique, and I'd think it, you know, definitely go up into a silver. But that's what pulled me back. The reasons that Annie and David liked it, I agree, but it's just the technique is not congruent.
Thank you, Carol. Annie.
Yeah, it's interesting because I didn't think that I would be in this position, but the more that I look at it, I still believe that it's a silver, because I think that I try to take away my own personal taste on that, and I wouldn't even know how to do that technique. I wouldn't do that technique, but that's not what I'm here to judge. I'm judging an image, and this is single capture, right? We're still in single capture in
Indeed,
family,
single capture.
and you know that is a really fantastic single capture in family. That extended family portrait. It's so hard to get anything interesting with all the generations and all the faces and all the babies and all the different things going on. And this photographer has really exceeded what we do as professionals as far as that practice goes. The colour tones are great. And then here they are, they're challenging us and also being really brave about what they've chosen. And it's actually, you know, it's quite an illustrative, interesting technique that they've used. We can still see the image, and I feel like they're taking us to a place that we kind of don't know what to do with. So yeah, I still believe that it should be in the silver range.
Thank you, Annie. Well, we're going to have a rescore. Currently, print is sitting on 78. And the print scores 79 by majority. However, if it was at APPA, it would go for review, and they do get the badge. So, great debate. Thank you, judges. Let's have the next print, please. And we have a score of 79. And 4 judges on 78. So very, very consistent. But let's have a comment anyway. Thank you, Katie.
I really enjoy the fact that this is so sort of classical and not at all what we would normally expect to be excited by these days with family photography. What I think that the photographer should do to work on this slightly more is slightly recrop it, because it is leaning a little bit, or it's pulling a little bit to the right. There's a lot of dark space on the left and not on the right, and it's just making me really want to look at that girl and not on the other side, but also to darken down the floor, because it's pulling focus as well. So they're just possibly some little technical things that will lift this image into award range potentially for APA.
Great, thank you, Katie. Let's have the next print, please. And the print scores 81, a silver award. And a comment, please. Thank you, Annie.
Yeah, this has got a beautiful feel about it. For me, the reason I didn't go higher is the little girl, her expression is just in a different world to the parents' expression, and it just wasn't working together.
And Nathan, quickly.
I'll be quick. Oh, the little girl was the reason I put it in 82. That there's kind of a disturbing feel about this image. I know we're not talking about it, I'll be quick, but her trying to reconnect with the rest of the family that's trying so hard to be kind of proper and straight and forward and distant was a really powerful piece for me. I felt what this category is about, which is an authentic representation of this family, and it was honest and it wasn't the most attractive, but it really did move me a little bit.
Good comments. I mean, sometimes when you're shooting single capture like that, it's and dealing with children and pets, you never know what they're going to produce, and all of a sudden you just get that winning look that you weren't planning on, but that's the one. Thank you very much, judges. We accept that score. We'll just go to a blank screen for a moment, please. Okay, judges, we're going to, that was the end of the single capture. So we're now going to go into the open, and I just want to have a quick look at my list here. So I'm going to do a judge change. And okay, look, Katie, you're next in line there anyway. I might give you a break, but I might actually bring on. Just trying to see where. Is Robin Campbell in the room? Yep. Robin, could you come in and jump in number 4 there? Just reminding everybody, we're judging the family category. This is going to be the open section. And it's proudly sponsored by CR Kennedy's, great supporters of the AIPP, so let's get out there and support them as well. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Let's have the next print, please. And the printer scored 82, a silver award. Hold on, folks. There may be more. Robin, on 88, would you like to have a chat about this print, please?
Yeah, there's a really lovely storybook sort of atmosphere running through this image. It's almost as if it's several scenes from a movie that are flowing from one frame to the next. It's a beautiful tonal range that runs through all of the little folded paper cranes, and it sort of goes from these blues and greens and yellows and oranges and reds as it travels through. And I'm not entirely sure what that circle element is in the middle, but it's got a poem written on it, when you're feeling kind of blue, etc., etc. There's such a plot and a story and a moment that's being told, and I appreciate the creativity in the presentation as well, the way that the cranes move in and out, and they're actually in between the frames as well, and then right out to the right-hand side where it flows through. There's a level of creativity here that I think is far superior to what you would consider standard practice, and as such I'd like to reward it as a silver distinction.
Okay, well, Nathan's made the assumption I want him to talk. However, no, we'll have a word from Nathan and then we might go to Annie. Thank you.
Just to contribute to it, I guess this is a discussion about, is it a silver distinction? I think that folding paper cranes is a journey of patience, and it's a slow repetition, and you have to spend some time doing it and doing a lot of them, and it's discipline, and maybe that is part of the story. I'm putting my hand up to say I don't completely understand the story, and it's beautiful and it's creative. I'm going out on a limb and reading that there might be a missing child in this mix, and so there's this journey of patience and miss, and eventually there's one little crane there on the little device. I don't know if that's just a little humidifier, and I don't know how that contributes. So I have some questions, and just the technical of the paper crane on the far left, the blue one, where its colour shift is just falling out, and some of the oversaturations of the cranes I've just struggled with. You know, we can't quite see all the details. Just these little things that maybe the photographer can take on board. But I'm really listening.
Okay, we'll go to Annie first, and then go to you, David.
Yeah, I really don't want to be the bad guy here, but I want to be honest about why I didn't give it silver. I understand the story. Well, I think I understand the story. I think it's about the journey of the rainbow baby coming after a baby that has been lost, and I think the circle is a candle holder, and that's where the middle one is. I also love paper cranes, and I understand all of that, and I love that story, Nathan, that you said. But as an image, so taking away that story as an image, I don't really feel that emotion. So the two babies are kind of separate to that. Like, they're not kind of continuing that image for me, the story. It's not gelling with me. My eye is going all over the image, and I'm not seeing that beautiful flow that is I imagine in the story. It isn't being represented in the image to me.
Thank you, David.
Yeah, I was struggling with story, and thanks for that, Annie. You explained that really well. But the candle holder, I'm not sure why there is one on the right-hand side next to the baby on the right. So, and that is really, for me, upsetting the whole composition. And I'm questioning that. What does that have to do with the storyline on this one? And I'm in the silver category, but I'm struggling with that part of the story.
Okay, Robin, bit of material to work with?
Oh,
Bring it
yeah,
home.
absolutely. And this is what I love about art in general, is that it's so subjective from everyone's perspective. And what that I love about it, it is like three separate shots from a movie, and you move from frame to frame to frame, and they are completely individual. And it doesn't necessarily mean that those elements, in terms of photographs, are connected. But then you've got these lovely cranes that can then connect the story throughout. As a piece of illustrative art, it probably needs an artist's statement to run with it, so we can receive the full intention of the photographer when they've captured this. But in terms of creativity, it's unique, it stands out. I love the saturation and the boldness in the cranes themselves. That's what lifts it out. If you know, I'm imagining big, beautiful white walls in a home, and this is an artwork stretched across the whole wall. I think it would just be absolutely spectacular, and it would really sing as a unique piece of art on its own. So yeah, silver distinction, sticking there.
Yes, I'm sure the family know what all the symbolism means, but it's getting it across to the judges. Anyway, let's have a rescore. We now have a score of 83, silver award. That was a great debate, and as we know, every point is important, because to become a finalist for the category, you need to have the numerical score to get in there. Once you're into that final judging, then it's reassessed without the numerical score, but just with the comments from our judges and their critiques. Okay, let's have the next print, please. Fast game's a good game. Yeah, well, that's not the highest. Okay, we have a score of 84, silver award. However, I've just got to work this out, judges, because we actually have an automatic challenge, which I'm going to ignore because it's in the negative. And we have a judge on 93, which I'm going to accept. And Nathan, you're on 92. So you'll get to chat, but you also get to change your score. Okay, so Annie, when you're ready.
Great. What a great debate to be had. I immediately gave this a gold because of emotional impact. It just has such a heart skip for me, and I feel like the photographer is just an amazing artist who's really presented us with something that has just got such beauty in it, even before you even start to think about all of the elements. It says childhood to me. It's so pretty, and the movement and the composition and every kind of art word I can think of is in this image. It's just on so many levels, so it's gold.
Okay, Carol, you're at the lower end of the scale.
Yes, well, as I say, art is subjective. I would like to listen to what everyone else is saying, and I think I would be happy to come up. I just didn't get the emotional content of the image. I kind of found it messy without telling me a story. But I appreciate the technical ability of the photographer to be able to capture this, but I'd be happy to listen to everybody else.
Okay. We'll go to Nathan now, and then we may go to David.
Great, thank you. It is a tricky one to judge because we can feel it, but we can also maybe pick it apart if we wanted to. I've been trying to pick it apart, and every piece I find I really appreciate. I think that every single piece in this image is very deliberate. What I'm seeing is, first of all, authenticity for the category. That's important. We've got this true depiction of this girl on the cusp of adolescence. I'm seeing and feeling the whimsy. Every single frame of this girl spinning around has a different piece of her character, and I'm feeling a bit of a weight of this semi-permanency around this childlike dance. She's still in her boots and she's in a pretty dress, but it's in a sunset symbolism of moving forward, and you can't hold on to that dancing. She's already growing up, stepping out of the frame on the right. Look at the pitch black silhouette on the left, second from left. That is one of the hero shots, and she's strong and she's almost an adult and she's looking up, and then in the middle she's dancing. This kind of closed off expression right in the middle in mid movement, and then the next one along, second from right, silhouette. Look at that power of an adult, like strength and attitude, and then in the background the colour image of just disappearing and fading off into the future. And there's a lot going on here, but I think it really complements each other, and as a piece of art it works, as a depiction of a family it still works as well. And I think this could hold on for her kids and her kids' kids to really appreciate of the joy of childhood and the moving forward of life. And you know, I'm only on 92, but it's worth It's worth shutting up, Nathan.
Yep, thank you. Okay, now we have David on 83 and Robin on 77.
Allowed 5 minutes? No, only joking. Yeah, as soon as I went up there, I'm thinking, gold, this is gold. And then I looked at the figure, 15 from the right-hand side, and the head being sort of gone missing between the other head. I'm thinking, just why? Because this is controlled. And this is, you know, put together. And, you know, I'm just trying to figure out why. Why is there a gap there? Why is she missing? I'm trying to draw a story from that. But I love the hand sort of coming down into the sun. So I'm tossing up between silver distinction and gold. And I probably will come up. But it's just, that was what pulled me back in the initial first place. It was that head missing.
Sure, okay. Well, and he's going to have her writer reply.
Yeah, I'm still just reeling from Nathan's poetic words, which were amazing. You know, so many levels and so many layers, and I think Nathan really explained the childhood feel of it, and that's what we've really got to remember. Being in the family category, you know, this is real. This is a real person. The photographer hasn't just, you know, created something from nothing. This has come from a job, and that's so exciting for this category and for this award system alone. And then to think about it as an image, about something that you'd see in an art gallery, and the levels and the layers. You can break this down into little snippets. Look at the legs across the bottom and the different densities through there and the movement. Like, I just love it on so many levels, and the composition and the direction that the photographer takes you. It's like she's in a circle, but she's not in a circle. There's nothing kind of obvious about it. This is genius on so many levels. Come on, guys.
Okay, we're going to have a rescore. Average at the moment is 84. Okay, so you put your scores in? They're not coming through. Yep, that's what we'll do. Thank you very much. So that was 93. Okay, we now have a score of 91, Gold Award. And quite a bit of movement there as well, judges. Very, very well done. Okay, you ready for the next print? Okay, next print please. And the print scores 82, a silver award. And Carol, I was going to give you a break, but if you wanted to make a comment before you go.
The emotion in this image is it is fabulous, and it's sort of like the delicate way that the photographer has treated it has added to the emotional content.
Terrific, thank you. Okay, and thank you for your judging. And we're going to welcome Aries. Thank you very much. So we shall have our next print, please. And the print scores 76. And Robin, or David, yep, hand in the air. That's what I'd like to see. Let's have a comment, please.
Only because it's standing out so obvious, the three stumps on the left-hand side, and your eye goes there straight away. But, you know, recrop of this image possibly could solve that problem, or even take them out altogether and just go for that expression and soften everything else.
Thank you, David. Very much appreciated. Let's have the next print, please.
Hello, judges. This is a new panel chair. My name is Nuran Zorlu. I'm from New South Wales, Sydney. And now this print scores 81, silver award. Nathan, can I have a quick comment from you, please?
Quick comments. Yeah, I'm good at that. There's so much fun and joy in this image. As this goes to more awards, punch the punch the baby. Oh gosh, I just said that on live. Just bring out those portraits just a little bit crisper, and maybe make those circles a little bit more random. And gosh, I'd love to see that matted in every single circle. That would be really fun on the national stage.
If the photographer listening actually get his advice, but don't punch the baby, otherwise you get a problem with the dogs. And and obviously you don't have a child. All right, thank you. Next print, please. This print scores 77. And Aries in 83, like the challenge. Talk to the print, please. You have another silver with you, and 70, 75, and 76. Talk to the print, please.
Okay. So I quite enjoy this image. this is what a family is about, isn't it? The little girl's just come into the world. She's curious. She loves everything. She's adventurous. But the dog is the older member in the family. The dog is watching out for her, just protect her, keep her warm and protective. You can almost see how these family members work together. And there is some magenta cast on the backs. It doesn't bother me because it almost sort of has a harmony with this background. So I quite enjoy that as well. Yeah, if not to the higher range, but this is definitely not an image that you will get in every single family shot.
David, can I hear from you?
Yeah, I struggled since it came round with the pink. I'm not too sure why, or why it's there, why it's not perfectly circled. It's I don't know, my eye gets drawn to it, and the little girl, I like her expression, but she's just a little bit overlit. So if she was down and maybe that pink mat wasn't there or whatever it is, I'm just not understanding this at all.
You have any comment? You're in the right at the other end of spectrum.
I'm with David. I just I'm so blindsided by the hot pink taking over most of the image that I struggled to get it into professional practice because I feel like the photographer is losing their image in there. So I think the choices that have been made with the cropping as well, quite close to the dog and the fur, it's all taking away my eye from looking at the sweet expression.
Just quick word from Nathan. You're in the silver range as well.
Yeah, look, as a team, we want to give this the honourable score and the honourable feedback so that it can do its best. And so I'm really listening to you guys. I appreciated the harmony of the pink with all of the colouring going on in the girl, but I'm also seeing the hotness of the developing, and if the photographer could dive back into the centre of that image and rework it out to just get a bit more depth into that, it could go higher. And I also saw this on a wall amongst others, so a full palette for the family, which of course we're not judging. So I'm listening, but yeah, look, I may not stay on 82.
Aries, you have right to reply.
Thank you, David and Annie, for the comments. The pink for me actually works because she's a little girl. She's coming to the world. She's like pink is the best color which is describe who she is, and yeah, I just love the contrast between their expressions, and they almost act different roles in the family, which I quite enjoy. So.
Thank you. This print's currently 77. Your score 83 remain as it is. And rest of the judges, can you re-enter your new scores, please? This print's score 78. And thank you. Thanks for judging. And next print, please. This print scores 82, silver award. Yeah. And we have David Oliver in 88 in silver distinction range. And David, there are two other silvers with you and two 78s. Talk to the print, please.
Yeah, this is all about the expressions, isn't it? Like, the little girl on the left, perfect expression, laughing and carrying on, and the baby on the right sort of can't quite work out what's going on. And so it's humorous at so many levels here. And the dog looking at the owner, unfortunately, if the dog had been looking up at those biscuits flying through the air, I would have gone gold. But no, the handling of the lighting, composition, the tonal range, there's a lot there, and it's just an interesting pictorial. So I'd like to sort of hear a bit more about this one.
Annie, can I hear from you? You're in 78.
Yeah, I am enjoying the humour in this image, definitely. I just felt like all of the elements were separate, and I wasn't really seeing a continuity between them to bring to my attention where to look, and also just for me to understand exactly what the photographer is showing us. I feel like maybe it's saying more about the photographer than the family as well, about like the outtakes and what we really have to deal with as photographers. I get that, but as an image in itself, I'd sat in professional practice.
Robin, you were in 84, just like high silver, and talk. What your comment?
This image is so close to silver distinction. I think I'm going to move there. What's happening in this image is it's a parody of personalities. You look at these three individuals on the couch. The one on the right, she's going to be the lawyer. She's just so serious. She's got a water bottle. She's taking it all in, going, what the heck's going on here? And then on the left-hand side, you've got this girl who's causing mayhem, causing trouble. She's going to be the extra, but, she's exploded a packet of chips, and that's the reaction. And the dog's like, oh, this is kind of interesting in the middle. So it's actually a really cool commentary on these three individual characters, and it's been captured in such a unique way, but at the same time, it's got a stunning architectural quality to it in the way that it's been designed with the graphic of the bits and pieces in the background. It's really clever. What held me from silver distinction to begin with was I just felt overall just the flatness. I'd love to see some more crispness in the whites so that architectural quality came through, but that's possibly my analytical mind working too hard. But as a character portrait of three individuals from this family, you can really see who they're going to be in the future. And that's, I'm moving up to silver distinction.
Nathan, you were in 82, yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to contribute towards the silver distinction as well. If they were all perfectly posed and looking at the camera, then we'd have a really great professional image. But what we have instead is a lot more characters in the picture. And even obviously on the left, this one needs more props and needs more blankets, needs more extras just to draw out anything, whereas on the right, this little baby just has water and still has wonder in her, which is really nice to see. The other, obviously it's a beautiful illustrative kind of palette, which we appreciate from any place in this room, but there's also a spontaneity about that explosion. It's the first one, there's not things all over the floor, it feels really fresh to me as well, so there's nothing I don't like about this image.
David, you have the right to reply.
Yeah, look, I'm happy it's all been said, so let's rescore.
Okay, rescore judges, please. Except you, David. Now this print scores 85, silver distinction. Great judging, thank you, judges. And can I have a blank screen, please? And I'd like to have a couple of judge changes, please. David, may I swap you with David, please? One David to go, one David to come. And also, Annie, may I swap you with the Keith, please? Thank you. And I accept this one. And next print, please. This print scores 83, silver award. And Kate, may I have a comment from you, please?
I love this concept, and it's a really clever thought. I just feel like there's maybe too many images there. They're not adding to the story. The story is the last image with the little boy having lost it. So whether the author can revisit and just maybe have one or two images, it's there. It just needs a little bit more development.
Thank you. Next print, please. This print scores 79. And like to have a quick comment, but quick comment from Kate, please.
It's an absolutely beautiful portrait. I can't suggest anything to the author. It's just beautiful, classic, what we do day in, day out.
Thank you. And this print score 79 as a normal sort of state awards. We don't just send to the other room, but if it's in the national, goes to the other room. But as David always says, this one, the badge 79 badge, can be awarded to people with the 79. Very good award as well, actually, I believe. Okay, good. Thank you. Next one, please. Next print, please. This print scores 75. Robin, may I have a comment from you, please?
Yeah, gorgeous pastel tones throughout it, and the shape of the love heart behind the woman is really quite beautiful. Perhaps in future work on expressions, the engagement there. She looks as if she's sort of like, oh, do I really have to do this again? There isn't that depth and connection to the beautiful bundle that she's holding. So yeah, work on the expressions, and perhaps a little crop on the right-hand side would help a lot as well.
Thank you. Next print, please. This print scores 83, silver award. But David on 88, and you're in the silver distinction range. And all the other judges are in the mid silvers. And talk to the print, please.
I'll actually start by saying what stopped me from going even higher, and that was just the lack of differentiation between all of the babies. Like, it's just the same shot.
if it had have been different, I would have gone gold for sure, because I just think it is beautifully composed, beautifully set up, beautifully designed, really, unique in the presentation of both the matting and just the overall graphic design of the image. The colour palette is beautiful. It obviously really suits the whole honey bee sort of theme. So, yeah, like I said, I would have gone gold if it had have been, more different babies in there. So something to think about for the future. But yeah, I just love everyone to have a bit of a chat about and think about coming up to a silver distinction. I think it's deserving.
Aries, you're in 83. You're on the average.
Yeah, to me, it's either silver or gold. You need to have this variety in the unity, in a sense that give a narrative, have a story, get the people to interested. When we go there, closer look at our little figures, we get rewarded. And however, I instantly got this impact. I loved geometric shape. I go up there, I find all the babies are copy and paste. That's what let me down. I give silver for extremely good repetitive geometric shape, but I would say this. I love this image. It has so much potential. Soon as the photographer go back and refine this image, it will definitely go to the silver range.
I'd like to hear from Nathan as well.
Well, I don't have too much more to add. I did get lost in the bottom grid, just with the mix of layers and textures there. When it's geometric, we do want to explore all the little structural pieces, and I got distracted by them, but not in a pleasant way. I'm really happy it sits in a solid silver, and I'd really love the photographer to keep working on just the littlest details, and it's a very strong image.
David, you have right to reply.
Look, yeah, nothing else to add. I'm really glad I challenged it because I think it's great to discuss it. And I think, the photographer will really appreciate the fantastic feedback that's been given. So, congratulations.
Thank you. Your score 88 remains as it is, and rest of the judges, can you re-enter your new scores, please? Now this print scores 84. Then silver award. Accept this. Next print, please. This print scores 80, silver award. And I would like to hear from Kate, please. A quick comment.
I enjoyed it. I've scored it as a silver. I just don't know that the two other. I love the image on the left. Like that's for me, it's the story of twins, and I'm not sure if the others are adding to it or not. So whether it would actually just be stronger with that single image on the left.
Thank you. Next print, please. This print scores 82, Silver Award. Robin, can I have a quick comment from you, please?
Yeah, this is what family photography is all about. You can clearly identify the characters of each of the individual children and the personalities that have come through and the bold choice of a background. I think it's going to look stunning on a wall. Well done to the photographer.
Thank you. Quick comment, yeah, Nathan.
Just a quick tip, just the people, they don't have the contrast to match the background. So if we could just pull in a bit more detail into those pastel highlights, I feel like it would add some more impact to an already incredible image.
Thank you. Can I have a blank screen, please? Can I have some changes, please? Robin, thanks for being with us. Carol, can I have you in the panel, please? And also, Kate, thank you very much for being with us. Annie, can I have you back, please? Thank you. We have... we're ready now. I accept this. Thank you. Next print, please. This print scores 78. Can I have a quick comment from Annie, please?
Yeah, I think this is good, solid professional practice. It's a really cute, quirky image, and the colours with his eyes and his jeans are a nice touch. Well handled.
Thank you. Next print, please. And this print scores 84. Silver Award. Thank you. And just may I quick comment from Nathan, please, and after that one I'm going to swap with another judge. I'm sorry, doesn't mean that actually you can not say anything.
I can still speak?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this image, and the only uncomfortability I have about it is the line, "Mum desperate for a portrait." It feels like it may not be completely honouring the family for that little piece. So we're back on the photographer's side, learning the behind-the-scenes process. That's the only thing, and maybe that whole story could come a little bigger because it's so strong. But a really beautiful story. I really enjoyed being on the other side of that fourth wall, or whatever we call that documentary.
Thank you. And now you can go. And Natalie, may I have you? Natalie, may I have you in the judging panel, please? Next sprint, please. This sprint scores 79. And it's like, didn't get a silver award, but get 79 badge. Can I have a quick comment from Natalie?
I think this is a beautiful moment with parents and the siblings, and it's unique. It is different and unique. But for me, it was a perfect example of professional practice. So to get it up into the silver range, I'm not quite sure what you could do with this image, but it was definitely professional practice.
Thank you. Next sprint, please. This sprint scores 78. Annie, may I have a quick comment, please?
Yeah, I really like the design of this image, but when I go up close, I felt like there were some technical issues in the skin tones and a little bit bright there, and also the sheep were not quite placed perfectly. So those were things that didn't take me into the silver range.
Thank you. Next sprint, please. This print scores 79. And can I have a quick comment from Natalie, please?
If the author or the photographer is listening, to get this into award category for APPers, I would look at changing your paper type. And also, I'm just finding the saturation and the colours, and also it's quite dense in some areas, so just lightening that print up in the shadows and the mid-tones and changing your paper type. It's really cute otherwise.
Thank you. Next print, please. This print scores 78. Can I have a quick comment from you, Aries?
It's beautiful black and white image. I find the edge on the left corner it's a bit heavy, so just crop it off, maybe square crop. The highlights out of the door in the background, get rid of it, get rid of the distraction, maybe just retouch it to white. That will simplify the image, make the main subject stand out even stronger.
Thank you. And next print, please. Okay, this print by majority score 84, but we have 92 gold award given by Annie. And Annie, there is another silver distinction in the luck judging, and the rest of them is actually in the silvers. And talk to the print, please.
Yeah, fantastic.
No.
Thanks, everyone. This is unique. That's pretty hard to do in family portraiture. I feel like the photographer has done an amazing job of really bringing something completely new, and it feels really genuine too. Like they've really explored the personalities of this family and worked with them to come up with something really that really represents them, and I believe it. I think that it's carried through thoroughly and really takes me into that gold category. Every little detail is ticked. Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right, just 1 second. There is a one little technical problem. Just like there is a little technical problem happening here from my end, and therefore, if you're watching this judging online, you're not going to see the right image. But everyone who's sitting here and they can see the right image. And apologies for that one, but we have to do this one manually. And can I have the print back, please? Now, Aries, can I please have your comment, please? You're in 81.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, Annie. I heard your story. I like the narrative. I noticed that the older son actually inherits from dad, which is the conservative one in the family. I go, ugh. And the younger kid has the look of mom, and obviously it's more open and exploring to the wild world. However, to me, what brings me down from silver distinction is when you have a simple image, you have a narrative, you need to have everything works together. In this case, will be the wardrobe choice. If you have a narrative, wouldn't say that the image would go stronger if the dad and the older sons have a pattern matching sort of unity in their wardrobe, and the mom and the younger one has had similar wardrobe choices. That would make the image even stronger to emphasize their unity and variety in the family.
Okay. All right. Thank you. David, can I hear from you? You're in the silver distinction range.
I think the clothing is fantastic, actually. I really like the sort of it's matching in terms of style and the feel, and I love that sort of almost washed out sort of cyan sort of toning to it. I think it really adds to the story. So yeah, I must admit, I think the clothing's done really well and deliberately. I'd love to hear. I'd love someone to tell me that black background is like made out of squash balls or something like that. So I'd love someone to explore that for me. I'm just missing that.
Okay. Natalie, just it's your turn now, please. Yeah, so yours.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you what that background is. This is a signboard, and you can buy them from Kmart for $12. I have one in my studio, and it says, "Welcome to House Studios." It says House Studios, welcome to the Smith family. I can't wait to shoot you. And I changed the name over, and this is up. So this is a signboard for this family. And so it's just taking that family photo to a different element. It's something we haven't seen before. I don't want to talk too much about it because it's Annie's print to talk about, but yeah.
Annie, is your you have right to reply back.
Yeah, I feel a little bit sad that we lost momentum on this actually because of the technical hitch. So I just want you guys to please don't let that lose this impact on this image, because it is a really unique new image that we haven't seen before. And thank you, Natalie, for explaining that. So the board thing, it's very modern. It's, you know, the sign writing thing, teenagers all have them in their rooms and put little quotes on them. And so it is very kind of modern. But then these guys have really brought to it this very retro feel, and also this kind of scrapbooky feel. It's a bit of a golden book feel too. I see that really 60s, 70s storytelling, which is where the colour palette comes in, which David pointed out, which is really nice. And also that Aries, the clothing is, every single little thing is chosen in this. They do actually have the same logos carrying that through, but the colour palette is deliberate. Everything is deliberate, right down to those little white little edges coming out of the family portrait. That's what happens on these boards, and you can see it more in the text as well, where because you have to rip off the little text and you have to rip off the letters individually, so you get those little bits left over of the white. So everything in this image is really deliberate, and I feel like the photographer has carried that through from start to finish. The expressions are perfect, especially the littlest boy in the yellow. Like, he just nailed it to gold for me. I was thinking high silver distinction, and then his expression got me into gold because they're all involved. It's all the way through.
Okay, I'm going to keep your 92 as it is, and rest of the judges, can you please re-enter your new scores? Like a good old days. Natalie, can I see yours again? And 86, 88. Now drum rolls, please. This print scores 90 Gold Award. Thank you very much. And next print, please.
And while the judges are contemplating the score, just to let everyone know out there in live streaming that the awards dinner is being held on Monday the 1st of July. Tickets are $95, which includes a full three-course meal, but there's only 15 tickets left, so go onto the AIPP website and get them now. Thank you. And we have a score of 80, Silver Award. Annie, you're on the average. Happy to have a chat?
Yeah.
Quick one.
Yes, I thought the styling was beautiful in this image. And her expression just let me down a little bit from going higher than silver. I just felt like it could be a little bit more believable.
Thank you. Okay, next print, please. And we have a score of 73. So, who would like to make a comment, please? Thank you, Natalie.
A cute little potato sack image. Just for the photographer, if they're going to enter this into any other awards, just watch your skin tones and the brightness of the image, especially on the baby's face. And also I can see quite a few cloning issues of the flocati around the bub where it's sort of mimicking itself and it hasn't been cloned in a way where it looks more realistic.
Great, thank you very much. Let's have the next print, please, but we're also going to have a judge change. Here he is. I'll give you a break and welcome back David Oliver to the judging panel. And just a reminder that we're judging the family open category here, proudly sponsored by CR Kennedy's, who have been great supporters of the AIPP, so let's get out there and support them as well. We have, by majority, 90, a gold award. And we're going to have lots of challenges, but I think I may take Mr. Oliver's on 93. Thank you.
I'm challenging on 90. I've scored it low then. If I'm challenging, I want it to go higher. As soon as it turned around, I thought, wow, it had gold written all over it from back here. And just composition alone, colour palette, expressions. And then when you go in close, you're not disappointed because it's carried through the delicacy of this big guy holding this tiny little baby. And the little shy girl peeping around her dad, it's just absolutely perfect. It's brilliant. And I can see this sort of in a gallery anywhere in the world representing New Zealand. And I'd like to see some debate on this one because maybe we could get it to a gold distinction.
Okay, well, David, you're on 93, but we have two other judges on 92 and 91, which is why I took your challenge being the highest one, because the other two judges have a chance to change their score. But we have two judges on 85, and Annie has the microphone, please.
Thank you. Yeah, I didn't think I'd be the lowest on 85. A solid silver distinction for me. I guess the questions I have for the gold people are that the totem poles, are they, in the background? Like they kind of look like they're floating a little bit, and the boat, I get that it's kind of part of a painting maybe, but I was confused about that and whether that was supposed to look realistic or not. So yeah, I'd love to hear some discussion around that. Love the image, nothing to say.
Okay, David also has the microphone ready to go.
I loved the contrast between the strength, and I thought the border was really brilliant. I loved the design within the border, but just that really strong border really highlighted the strength of the dad. And, you know, he's this warrior guy, so protective of his family, and I think that's reflected with that beautiful his little daughter hiding behind him, like, you know, daddy's my strong daddy. I just thought that alone, without any of the other background, was just fantastic. I think obviously the background is not meant to be literal. It's adding elements that are obviously important to that family story. I mean, the volcano in the background, etc. So I personally don't have a problem with that really illustrative feel of the background. I think all those elements are obviously in there for a reason. And I'm sure that family understands what that reason is more than we do. But yeah, just that contrast of the really strong warrior dad with this tiny, you know, baby and the daughter hiding behind him. I thought it was beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I might go, Natalie, did you want to speak? No, I'm fine. Okay, well then we'll go to Carol, then we'll go back to David.
For me, I think this is definitely gold. I mean, the expression on that little girl's face is just amazing. And even the way that she's got her foot on her dad's toes there, and just, you know, you can just see the connection between father and child. But the background, I think, if it was too, like, it's got that dreamlike quality. I think if it was too sharp, or it would be distracting, whereas it's kind of just adding that lovely dream-like quality to it and speaking about the culture of this family. So I think it's just so well done. It deserves a gold.
Great, thank you.
Said.
Okay. Mr. Oliver, your right of reply.
Yeah, I think the background is like it's very painterly. It's a painting. It's not meant to be sort of a literal background. So the totem poles probably are floating. Who knows? But it's just the way it works with the clothing, what they're wearing, the colour palette, just superb. And the control of the light is just amazing. So I'm asking for a gold with distinction for this.
Okay, judges, we have a score of 90 by majority. Let's have a rescore. Prince scores 93. Gold award. And we did have two judges in the gold distinction range, but by average, 93. Very well done. Okay, are we ready? Next print, please. And we have a score of 77. And a comment from one of our judges, please. Thank you, Natalie.
Yeah, beautiful example of professional practice. To take this up to an award image, I would just look at your highlights and shadows. I'm quite comfortable with the shadows. I think the highlights could be just a little bit more delicately done, and also the paper. Have a play with a bit of some paper styles, and choose a different paper type.
Great, thank you for those comments. Next print, please. A fast game's a good game. And we have a score by majority 84, silver award. Excellent work. And let's have a comment. Please, David. David S.
The colour palette and tonal range I thought was really, really beautiful in this image. I was probably just struggling to see the connection between all the kids. Just sort of seemed like just a combination of lots of different kids. But yeah, it was really beautifully done.
Great, thank you very much. Next print, please. And the print score's 78. Annie, you're on 78.
Yeah, this is a well done image. The first image of the pregnancy, I felt like we weren't really drawn to the belly so much as the chest, which I struggle with a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, no other comments. Then we'll go to the next print, please. And we have a score 79 by majority. And a challenge. Thank you, Annie. On 84, please.
Yeah, this is such a beautiful image and such a strong silver in my mind for family portraiture. I mean, the photographer is showing me that they really are connected with this family and giving them the best they can from the characters within the family. And it's got quirkiness, it's got cuteness, and it's got really strong expressions all the way through, right down to the duck. Goose.
There you go. Okay. One of our judges, Natalie, you're on 77, but if another judge would like to speak. Okay, thanks, Carol.
I think Annie's right about the expressions. I mean, they're just amazing. I just think the way it's been handled has let it down. I feel like the younger girl's hand is a bit blurry or something, and it's a little bit distracting. And then it could be cropped a little bit from the bottom. There's that sort of bit of another hand of the older girl that sort of it sort of is just there. It's not. Yeah, if you could see a hand, it would work. So that could be cropped, and maybe the vignetting's a little bit heavy. But with a little bit of work, I think it could be a really strong silver.
Okay, no other comments there. I'll go back to Annie.
The long-necked goose is smiling very well. It's so quirky and cute, and also beyond professional practice. You don't get this every day, and you don't control this every day. And I feel like the photographer has really done that to take that into the award range, really got those expressions and worked well to show what this family is all about.
Thank you, Annie. Well, we're currently sitting on 79. Can we get this over the line? Let's have a rescore. We certainly can. All judges in the 80s. 82, Silver Award. Very well done. Okay, I'm going to accept that score and go to the next print, but also have a judge change. So, David, thank you very, very much, and we'll welcome back onto the judging panel Nathan Madigan. Thank you. Katie, could I get you to jump in for this print, please? Thank you. Okay, we have a score of 82, Silver Award. But first we have a challenge. Mr. Oliver on 92.
Yeah.
David, please.
Yeah, again, impact, expression, powerful expression, and that's why I went high on this one. Not for the element, in the foreground, the young child's arm, but because of that, the strength that I'm seeing in that expression, and that's why I've sort of gone for this one. The colour palette, beautiful. The horse just toned down just a fraction in the foreground would have been absolutely perfect. But no, I think this deserves more. I'd love to see this go a little bit higher because there's so much strength in that little girl and strength in that expression. The communication is just brilliant.
Okay, well, we'll go to Nathan, and then we might come to Natalie.
Yeah, look, this is a tricky one to not get caught up in just the power of the character. I don't want to I want to be very careful to respect this this image well. Technicals wise, it's blocked up in the shirt. It's flat printing. The shadows have lost. The horse could be dulled down a little bit. The crop, I would have loved to see a taller crop. When most horse ridings could get a bit of the strength of that shape. And it would be interesting to learn something about this little girl aside from potentially the obvious. Now, I don't know whether the photographer honoured this correctly. If they did, then this girl wanted to be a horse rider and she couldn't, and she's looking off into the courageous distance, you know, not there or something like that. That could be a really powerful story. I don't know. But otherwise, I would have loved to see something new in her outside of her limb. Joy or courage or something else that informs more of her character than what we can already see. But with absolute respect to this character, I'm just going to listen some more.
Okay, thank you. Natalie, on 82.
Yeah, definitely a strong award image. For me to take it up higher, technically there's just unfortunately too many flaws. Yeah, the printing is dull, the blacks are blocked up, and we need to see detail there. That's an area where there should be detail. And I'm finding the lighting, it's just a little too harsh, which is creating quite harsh shadowing on her left side. So the emotional impact is there. And we can see, obviously, I believe she wanted to be a horse rider when she grew up, and this is probably her only chance. But technically, it's just falling short, and I'm happy to give it an award, but I can't go up any higher.
Well, let's see. David has a right of reply.
Yeah, I went straight past the technique. I looked straight into that expression. So that's the impact that it had on me, was obviously the storyline, and she will be able to ride a horse one day. So that sort of didn't worry me too much because she's such a strong girl. You can see that in her expression. And so that's what I've gone for. So, yeah, I'd just love to see her get a few more marks. Obviously, I'm probably a little bit higher and asking a lot for gold, but maybe we could go silver distinction.
Okay, judges, currently on 82. Let's have a rescore. David, you'll have to re-enter your score because it was more than 10, so it was an auto challenge. So 92. $84, silver award. As previously mentioned, that 84, those 2 extra marks can get that person into being a finalist. So every point counts. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to go to the next print, but first we're going to have a judge change. Natalie, I'm going to get you to jump out. And welcome, Kate, back to our judging panel. Thank you. Next print, please. My judges, let's get some scores in. And we have a score of 87, silver with distinction. We have 2 judges in the gold range, both on 92. I should go ladies first, but Nathan, you had your hand in the air, so I'm going to take your challenge.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad we started in high 70s with at least 2 on gold. Let's just talk about where in the gold range this should sit. We could, way from back here, we could give it a gold just for the fun element, but there's a lot more going on here than pure artistic direction, and I've, at the risk of just walking you through the whole story, it's telling us an authentic capture of this entire family, the extended family, the grandparents holding up the grandkids. This is what they do day in, day out. The expression on all their faces is really true to each other. It is a tricky thing holding up the entire family. Their focus is on those 2 little kids, and that's exactly how real family life works. This couldn't be more perfectly conveyed in such a simple noir style. I really enjoy that. But what's really powerful, I think, is that we can read a whole lot of stories into each of these smaller families. We've got the guys, the parents of the kids, obviously, they're right above, they're keeping an eye on them. We can see that connection. The guys on the other side, they're just starting out their life. They've got a new baby, they've got a little butterfly, which could mean something. Somebody will tell me about that. But that's true to them. The guys in the middle, they're free spirits. Their clothes, their attitude, their joy, their unicycle, they're all saying, look, we are without kids right now and loving life. And so there's a real scope of humanity all captured in this one little bit, even down to the clothing choices. It's not a safe clothing choice, it's everything. It's exactly what they wanted to do, and it really works. So I really love this in gold, and I'd love to chat about how it should be.
Okay, well, you have a colleague on 92 as well, but I think I might go to Kate first on 81.
I love the representation of an extended family, and it's really difficult to do something different with an extended family shoot. My issue was just around believability of the image.
Okay, we may go to you then, Carol. Oh, no? Yes, certainly.
I just want to ask a question to the gold people. The 2 little boys at the bottom, I feel like they're out of scale with the rest of the people. Is that my eyes playing trick, or do you have anything to say about that? That just kind of bothered me. I feel like they're not quite the same scale as the rest of the family.
From my distance, it looks like they are, so I could only assume, not that it's my place, that it's done on purpose. It's part of the storytelling, but does the story come through? Anyway, Carol, please, on 92.
It's just got so many great storytelling elements. You know, each couple has got their own story. I just love the grandparents. I mean, so many of us rely on the grandparents to help out with babysitting and keeping everything together. And those grandparents are helping the parents of the 2 little boys keep everything together. So maybe that's why they're larger. They're featured largely in the family. Now with the new baby coming along, that might change. But it's just got such a great story. And I think people forget about how important the grandparents are in keeping families together these days. So it's quite topical, and it works so well just with everybody there. The composition's amazing, and just the photographer, thinking of doing this, I think it shows. So for a gold, it is outstanding visual communication, and this is really visual communication. Has emotion, it has impact, and the technique's amazing, and as well as being topical and illustrative.
Thank you. Nathan, your right of reply.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate all of those comments. I think you've all seen it truly. I can see that those kids, if they stand on the ground, they could reach that rope and lift up their knees, and it feels comfortable to me. But I appreciate you guys can see that for yourself. Believability is a really good thing to spot there, because what we're not seeing is an actual family balancing on a rope held up by grandparents. So already we're being drawn out of that shape of really this, and what we're falling into instead is symbolism. And on that avenue, this is done exceptionally well, so well that the photographer starts to remove any elements that would distract us, so that all we're left with is the essence of the symbolic pieces of the whole family tree. And in that regard, I feel like they've done a really, really good job of isolating all those things until we just have the essence of family and joy and fun and the relation of this community system. And I really think this deserves a high gold.
Mhm. Okay, judges. Well, the print currently is on 87. Let's have a rescore. Yes, you can. No, you're locked in. Ah, now for some reason, re-enter it because it hasn't come through on the auto. We now have a score of 89. Silver with distinction. It was a good argument, almost over the line, and it could, you never know, at APPA. Let's accept that score and move on to the next print, please. And we have a score of 87, silver with distinction. And we have two challenges, one in the negative, one in the positive. Mr. Oliver, 93.
93, yeah, absolutely. Gosh, look at that. So much happening in this picture and so well done. Just the idea alone, it's extraordinary. Composition, lighting, and the little, can't even see him now. I'll get down here, Lawrence, so I can see, there he is. It's okay. The little fella looking back, his expression, which is perfect. And it's a fairy story, but it's almost believable, isn't it? It's just so well executed all the way through. I couldn't find a fault. The colour harmony, the colour palette, the reds, the warm tones, the cool tones, it's just all there. So this one needs some debating because we're so close.
Close, Kate, yes, please.
I agree with so much of what you're saying in that I love the colour palette, I love all of those elements. The issue for me is on the dinosaurs of they've been, we're open, so I'm making a presumption of a composite, but they just don't gel for me with the way that the dinosaurs are. I love the story elements, that's why I put it into silver, but it's just not quite gelling.
Okay. Does anyone else like to have a chat? Otherwise, we'll go straight on to David. Okay, David? Very quickly then, Nathan, you're on 88.
Oh, I really like it in silver distinction for everything everyone said, pretty much. I'm not feeling any more emotion than just this epic, beautifully finished image. And so I'm quite comfortable in silver distinction, but if it's going any further, I think I want to hear from everyone.
Okay, we've got a little bit of material there for you to work with, David. You all right to reply? Okay.
I think it's a really clever image, and it's telling us a little bit about this little boy. It just hasn't got a lot of emotional impact for me, but it's very clever and it is telling us about them. I just think it's lacking a little bit of emotion.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sort of. I see this little fella. He's leading the charge. You know, he's William Wallace going into battle. You know, this is fantasy, and he's got all these dragons behind him. I think it's just so well done. Composition works perfectly, and they're just disappearing into the distance. I think it's very, very well done, very clever. So, well, let's see it get a few extra marks, even if we don't go gold.
Takaris. Let's have a rescore. The score remains at 87. Silver with distinction, though. Great. Let's go to the next print, please. And the print score is 81, a silver award. And a comment, please? Nathan?
I just struggled a bit with the depth, because the edge and the fabric are right up there in the front of focus, and then it fades out to the feet at the bottom and the details out of focus. And yet, are we sitting on it? Are we sitting in it? It's just, I lost a bit of the placement of the final frame. Otherwise, incredibly lit and emotional image.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, next print, please. And the print score is 76. Okay, you're on 76. How about a comment then, please?
It's a beautiful classic portrait that we do for our clients. My only distracting element is the top right, but again, it's one that just fits beautifully in professional practice.
Excellent, thank you. Next print, please. And the print score is 81, a silver award. Let's have a quick comment. Anna, you're on 81.
Yeah, I thought this was a really beautiful image with great choice of clothes and colour and styling, and beautifully printed as well.
Great, thank you. Next print, please. And we have a score of 77. I'll accept that score unless it's going to be challenged. Okay, thank you, Nathan. We accept your challenge on 82.
Yeah, put it into the silver range, and this will be more for discussion. I don't want to railroad anybody because I'm the only one in silver, but I really think as a team we should just feedback on this image. I really appreciated this for the objective study of a small human. We often see these kind of images in nature and in kind of small animals, and I really appreciated that kind of angle with the circle apertures on each of them as well. It really kind of objectified this little child in a fresh way, and each of the existing images were quite crisp, and I considered it all professional practice plus some creativity. So maybe we can just talk about it a little bit.
I think they're called babies. Small people? Yeah. Okay, David, you're on 74. Would you like to have a chat?
Yeah, I must admit, I struggle with the angle here, especially the left-hand side, whereas the baby's proportions are wrong because the angle has changed. So that's where I struggled. And the middle one is a lovely portrait, but I don't know whether it's strong enough to even stand alone. And the one on the right is kind of quirky. It's humorous, so that worked for me. But it's the one on the left that really didn't sort of need to be there from that angle for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Nathan, you want to write a reply? Or?
Thanks. Look, in service to the image and the industry and the photographer, thank you for the feedback. And yeah, I think that what we can draw out is maybe the third image is actually the most creative, and the middle one is the most professional, and the first one may be a little bit redundant. So good feedback, people.
Okay, thank you. We still have a rescore because it's been challenged. Current score is 77. And this print remains at 77, but thank you anyway. Next print, please. And we have a score of 80. Silver award. Yes, we're going to have a challenge from David Oliver on 86.
Yeah. The humour in this image is just so quirky and funny. We got the black and white dog. We got the, perfect timing of going past the, I presume it's a little girl, upside down and hiding her head. And it's just sending us a message. It's just, this is fun. This is humorous. This is a moment that's been captured. If you look at Elliot Irwitt's work with the dogs, this is the kind of thing he'd look for, and it'd land up in a gallery. So, and this is what I'm looking at here. I'm looking at something just a little bit quirky and different to take us to a different place to what we usually used to seeing. And the dog hiding the little girl. Yeah, perfectly. Timing was brilliant, and that's what this kind of work is all about, the timing.
Okay, Kate?
It's all right. I enjoyed it for exactly the same reasons. I guess I was getting lost in the distraction in the background, the big white patch up on the site. So I don't know whether the photographer could lighten that down. I just keep getting drawn to that rather than to the actual story of that moment, which I love that moment, but I'm drawn away from it.
Nathan, you've got Actually, I'll go to Annie and then Nathan.
Yeah, I'm with David on this. I really reward the photographer for presenting something different in this category as well. And when you do place it in that category of family portraiture, this is a great family portrait. You know, I'm sure that the family love it and feel it, and it shows their humour as well, and says a lot about them. And so there are lots of elements in here that the photographer has brought to it, which is why I'm going up.
Thank you, Nathan.
I think this image can keep going. It's the crop. If we pull in the crop a little bit, if we pull the blacks up and the highlights down and just balance it out a little bit, I keep on getting distracted by the solid blacks and the highlights on thighs and legs and faces and backlights. And the power of it is what you saw, David, just right on that dog's face. And maybe treat it like it's going to a gallery and just pull it in a little bit more and crop it around. There's a strong image, but I don't think it's right there yet.
Okay, David, your right of reply. Oh, very quickly, Carol. Yep.
Maybe if they brought the blacks down a little bit, it just feels like the back of the dog's head and the girl, whatever she's got on, they just need just that little bit of separation so you're not keep looking at it, you know, saying what it is. But it's just so well timed and such a quirky image, it deserves to be rewarded.
Terrific, thank you. David, your right of reply. Okay, we have a score of 80 and we're going to rescore. David, you're locked in on 86. And we have a score of 84, silver award. And 2 judges in the silver distinction range, so that's gone up 4 points. Very good. Let's have a next print, please. Okay, and we have start again. We have a score of 84, silver award. Round of applause. But wait, we have a challenge from Annie on 93. Take it away, Annie.
Well, I'm quite blown away by this image. I feel like I've never seen anything like this before. It's straight out of a storybook. It made me want to have a baby. It's probably not the right thing to say, is it? That's a terrible thing to say. No, it's really something very unique and new and just so well done and so quirky and sweet and a very, very tricky way to present photography to us. And I feel like even though the baby hasn't been turned into an illustrative element like a lot of the other elements have, that it still is combined really well with the illustration. I'm really impressed with this. I'm surprised I'm out here on my own.
We have 3 judges on 82 and 1 on 83, so it's all very consistent. I think Kate was keen to... Yeah? Okay.
I feel like it would have been stronger almost if they brought the baby to be like that. I mean, it's beautiful. There's so many elements in there. That's the other issue that I was struggling with a little bit, is the birds aren't really adding anything there. It could have just been the simplicity of the baby. But yeah, I just wanted that baby to almost feel more like part of a drawing as part of this image, because it's beautiful. It's there, almost.
Okay, Nathan?
Yeah, this is beautiful concept, but that baby has a depth of field and the illustration doesn't. So when you place the baby with depth of field right in the middle of a flat illustration, it doesn't quite gel, and it was probably very easy, will probably be very easy to fix. But that's just threw me out a little bit.
Okay, thank you. Annie, your right of reply.
I feel like if the baby became part of the illustration, that we'd be having the discussion about, is this really a photograph, and da da da. And I feel like this photographer, like, we need to try not to put all of our thoughts onto it of what we would do and what elements we wouldn't take out, and try to open our minds as to what is presented to us, and is it something unique and something new. The story might be about, they might have a zoo. They might have these, this might be part of their family, because presumably it is something to do with the family, since it's in the family category. So that's where I'm also really thinking about that. We have to assume that they've followed the rules to get to this point. So this is the family category. This is part of their family. There is a story here, and it's beautiful to look at. And so those are all the elements that I'm taking into account to bring it up much higher than just a regular silver.
Great, thank you. Okay, judges, current score is 84. Could you please rescore? Print scores 87, silver with distinction. And on that, I believe it's the last print of the family category. Thank you very much. Thank you, judges. Thank you, print handlers. And thank you, CR Kennedys, for your fantastic support of the AIPP. There's going to be a short break before we get straight into the documentary category. So stay tuned out there in live stream land.